You open Instagram. Your friend just bought a house. Another one just got promoted. Bought a new car. You check your bank account. Your stomach drops. Everyone seems to be winning except you. But the truth? You are not behind. You're just looking wrong. In Japan, there is an 80-year-old practice that kills comparison completely. And it might be the reason your money finally starts to grow. Here is what nobody tells you about money anxiety. It has almost nothing to do with how much you actually have. In 1954, psychologist Leon Festinger discovered something strange about human beings. We do not judge our own worth using a fixed scale. We judge it by scanning the people around us. He called it social comparison theory. And money is the perfect trap for it, because unlike height or age, there is no visible ceiling. Someone always has more. Unlike your career title or the shape of your body, money is engineered to be flaunted. Someone can hide a promotion for months. Nobody hides a new car parked outside the house. For most of human history, this comparison was limited. You only saw the wealth of your village, your street, your 50 closest neighbors. Today, you scroll past 3,000 curated highlight reels before breakfast. New car, new kitchen, new holiday in Bali. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a neighbor and a stranger's algorithm-fed vacation photo. It reacts the same way. Threatened. Behind. Small. Researchers at the University of Darmstadt studied this exact reaction on Facebook. They found that browsing without posting anything yourself, just watching other people's success, was the single biggest driver of envy and dissatisfaction on the platform. You are not comparing your life to their life. You are comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. And that comparison is bleeding your motivation to actually build wealth, because envy does not inspire action. It just makes you feel poor. There's a name for the spending this reflex creates. In 1899, economist Thorstein Veblen called it conspicuous consumption, buying things specifically because they are visible, because they signal status to the people watching. The car is not just for driving. The renovated kitchen is not just for cooking. They are billboards, purchased with your future savings, aimed at neighbors who are barely paying attention. Every dollar spent chasing that billboard is a dollar that leaves your own ledger and enters someone else's approval. Western culture even has its own name for this exact trap. The phrase keeping up with the Joneses comes from a comic strip that ran in American newspapers starting in 1913, mocking suburban neighbors who quietly competed to outspend each other on lawns, cars, and clothes. It was funny because it was recognizable. It is still recognizable, over a century later, just running through a phone screen instead of a newspaper comic strip. Now here is where Japan solved this problem 80 years before Instagram existed. In the 1940s, a Japanese businessman named Yoshimoto Ishin nearly destroyed himself. He had tried extreme religious austerity, starvation, self-punishment, anything to fix the restlessness inside him. Nothing worked. So he stripped a Buddhist reflection practice called Misirabi down to its base skeleton and built something new. He called it Naikan. It means, quite literally, looking inside. It later became formal therapy taught in clinics across Japan, then adopted internationally, still used today to treat anxiety and addiction. Naikan is not therapy in the Western sense. There is no venting. There is no talking about your feelings. Naikan gives you exactly 3 questions, and you are only allowed to ask them about one relationship or one area of your life at a time. What have I received? What have I given in return? What trouble and difficulty have I caused? Notice what is missing from that list. There is no question about what you deserve. No question about what others have that you do not. The entire architecture of comparison, of ranking yourself against your neighbor, simply has no room to exist inside those 3 questions. You are forced to look only at your own ledger. Traditional Naikan is used to repair relationships with a parent, a partner, a friend. But therapists who have studied the method for decades have found something else. The same 3 questions, pointed at your finances instead of a person, quietly dismantle the exact anxiety that is wrecking your bank account. This is not accounting for accounting's sake. A household ledger practice like Kikibo already teaches people to write down every yen they spend. Naikan goes one layer deeper. It does not just track where the money went. It tracks where your attention went. And your attention is usually the real leak. Try it. Not with your neighbor's new car. With your own money. Question 1. What has money given me? Not what you wish it gave you. What it has actually given you, today, this week. A roof. A hot meal. The ability to see a doctor. Most people cannot name 5 things, because they are too busy scrolling past someone else's new kitchen to notice their own. Question 2. What have I given in return for what I have? Where has your effort, your labor, your discipline actually gone? Most people skip this question entirely. They treat money like weather, something that happens to them, not something they participate in creating. Question 3. The one that stings. What financial trouble have I caused myself? Not your boss. Not the economy. Not your unlucky birth year. You. The subscription you forgot to cancel. The impulse purchase after a bad day. The comparison-driven spending. Buying something not because you needed it, but because someone else had it first. The samurai had a phrase for this kind of honesty. A warrior does not count another man's arrows. He counts his own, and asks only whether each one was aimed with purpose. Your bank account is not a scoreboard against your cousin, your old classmate, or a stranger on your feed. It is your own quiver. Naikan simply forces you to finally look inside it. Psychologists Robert Emmons and Michael McCullough ran an experiment in 2003 that explains why this works. They split participants into groups. One group wrote down what they were grateful for each week. Another wrote down their daily hassles. The gratitude group did not just feel happier. They reported fewer physical complaints, more exercise, and crucially, better self-control around spending and decision-making. Gratitude, the deliberate act of counting what you have received, physically lowers the nervous system's alarm response. And a calm nervous system makes better financial decisions than a threatened one. This is the piece almost nobody explains. Comparison keeps your body in a low-grade threat state. And a brain that feels threatened does not save. It does not invest. It spends, fast, chasing a hit of relief. Because scarcity, even imagined scarcity triggered by someone else's holiday photo, makes your brain grab for comfort now instead of security later. Naikan interrupts that loop before it starts. Consider two co-workers earning the exact same salary. One spends her evenings scrolling past colleagues' new cars, upgrading her own out of quiet panic, financing furniture she cannot really afford. The other spends 15 minutes each Sunday with the 3 questions instead. A year later, the first co-worker owns newer things and a shrinking savings account. The second owns older things and 6 months of expenses in the bank. Same income, same city, same job. The only difference was where their attention and their comparison was pointed. Here's how to actually use it, starting tonight. Once a week, sit somewhere quiet with a notebook. No phone. Pick 1 week of your financial life. Write your answers to the 3 questions. Honestly, in full sentences, not bullet points. For question 1, write something like, "This month my money paid for the visit that kept my father out of pain." For question 2, "I skipped lunch out 3 times to make sure the rent cleared on the 1st. For question 3, "I let a forgotten subscription drain $40 a month for 4 straight months because I never once looked closely enough to catch it." Do not edit yourself. Do not perform gratitude for the camera. This is not a highlight reel. It is the opposite of one. After the first week, most people notice they have stopped mid-scroll, right before the envy fully lands. After the first month, purchases you once justified as treating yourself start to look, on paper, exactly like what they were, spending built to close a gap that was never real. After 3 months, many people report their savings rate rising, not because they suddenly earn more, but because the leak, comparison spending, has finally been sealed. Your bank account was never actually the problem. Where your eyes were pointed was the problem. So tonight, before you check anyone else's account, check your own 3 questions. What has money given you? What have you given for it? What trouble have you caused yourself? Write the answers down. Then tell me in the comments, what is one thing you actually received from your money this week that you never gave yourself credit for? Subscribe for more of the psychology hiding behind the money habits nobody else is explaining.